The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org. Tell you a very, very good story. My cousin told me he's a criminal lawyer. He retired a year ago and he started doing real estate. And he has real estate all over the country, very successful. And his name is Frank Mendel. And he was sitting on a flight, on an American Airlines flight in Newark Airport. This is a great story, one of my favorites. In Newark Airport, he's sitting on an American Airlines flight next to his business partner. His business partner's name is Chaim Kaufman. Now, the pilot gets onto the intercom and he says, "Passengers, please turn off all of your electronic devices and prepare for takeoff." So Chaim hears all of your electronic devices and immediately puts his hand in his pocket and he says, "Frank, I got to make one last phone call." Frank says, "The pilot just told everyone to turn off their electronic devices." And I says, "No, this is really important." He puts his hand in his pocket, looks for his phone, and realizes, oh no, he forgot his phone at the charging station by the gate. So he panics, and there are a lot of young guys over here, and I see everybody knows from this generation that your entire life is on your phone. You know, if you're going to a business meeting in Dallas, you have your schedules, your contacts, your meetings. Everything is on that phone. He turns to Frank, says, "Frank, I got everything on the PowerPoint presentation. Everything is on that phone." He says, "What am I supposed to do?" There was a flight attendant walking past. His name is Steve Cooley. I spoke to Steve to verify the story, by the way. Steve Cooley walks past in the aisle, grabs his jacket, and he says, "Steve, do me a favor. I know that the plane is already inching out of the gate. It's moving. I forgot my phone at the charging station. Do me a favor. I know that I can't get it back right now, but at least contact the gate. They should put it in lost and found, so when I come back, I at least get my phone back." Steve says, "Hang in." He disappears for 5 minutes in the cockpit, comes out, goes over to Chaim Kaufman, hands him his phone and the charger, and he says, "Please don't forget it again." Chaim looks at Steve, and he says, "How'd you get that phone? Plane is moving." Steve says, "I'll tell you. The pilot, when he heard that someone forgot his phone at the charging station, he was in touch with the air traffic controller at the tower. The air traffic controller at the tower notified an agent at the gate. The agent at the gate ran to the charging station, grabbed the phone and the charger, ran out into the tarmac, noticed a truck with a scissor lift. Those lifts used to put the food onto the plane, those carts on the... He runs over to the truck driver, and he says, "Sir, do you see that plane, flight number 1509, that's heading onto the runway right now, inching on?" Says, "This belongs to one of the passengers. Please get it over to the pilot." The truck driver, true story by the way, on the tarmac, heads over to the plane, lifts the scissor lift. The pilot opens up the cockpit window, throws the phone and charger into the cockpit, gives it to Steve Cooley, and Steve Cooley hands it back to Chaim Kaufman. I said, "Frank, it's amazing. Were you flying business class by any chance?" He says, "Yes." Okay. Don't expect it in economy. So Frank turns to Chaim and he says, "You know, you told me you had to make an important call. You realize had you not wanted to make that call, you probably never would have gotten your phone back. Who did you want to call?" So Chaim says, "I have an elderly mother, and I try to call her every night to say goodnight. And I remembered I didn't call her tonight. So I said, 'Frank, so what'd you tell him?' He said, 'The lesson of the story is, I told him that when you think of someone else, great things happen.' I said, 'That's cliche. I have a different lesson. Always fly American Airlines.'" The truth is, if you think about it, how many people did it take to return Chaim Kaufman's onto the plane? Chaim Kaufman's phone. So I made a cheshbon. It took the pilot, it took the flight attendant, it took the air traffic controller at the tower, it took the agent at the gate, and the truck driver who drove over with a scissor lift. 5 people. And it occurred to me, there's a pasuk in Parshas Bechukosai, it says, "Chamisha mikem meya yordoifu." Hashem says that you'll be able to chase away 100 of your enemies with 5 people. Moirav Rabbi Saider Chaim HaKadosh asks, how can 5 people chase away 100? It doesn't make any sense. It's impossible. It's just impossible. Says the Chaim HaKadosh, you forgot what it says in a pasuk previous before that. It says, "V'nasati shalom ba'aretz." I'll put peace in your land. There'll be peace. You know what shalom is? That each of those 5 people will know their role. They'll come from a different background. Maybe one will speak Yiddish, the other will speak Hebrew, the other will speak English. They'll have different strengths, and they'll work together. If there's shalom between 5 people, then yes, Meya Yerdoifu, we can accomplish the impossible. We can't have judgment. We have to recognize Hashem created everybody different. Milas chesroinus, the point of connection is when we use our milas to fill Yanam's chesroinus. That's shalom.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org